Hi, it's Mermaid Phantom. I am not wearing any makeup today, and I'm not wearing a wig. I am wearing a really old work shirt that is covered in stains, and I'm perfectly good with it. Because you're not here to see me all dressed up. Just no comments about my hair being red. It has nothing to do with Ariel. Think more Nivon. You know who that is. I don't need to be dressed up today because I'm teaching you how to put your silicone mermaid tail to bed for the year. And I'm about to do it myself, so I'm going to let you tag along with me and see what I do at the end of mermaiding season to get my silicone mermaid tails ready for storage. So let's dive in. And remember, this is just what I do, so if you do something different and it works for you, awesome. But if you get anything from this, also awesome. No, the light, go away. The first step to getting your silicone mermaid tail ready for storage is to clean it really, really well in the bathtub. I have a video on how to clean your silicone mermaid tail, and I will link that down in the description box below for you, and you can follow that there, because I'm not going to tell you all of it right here. Next, what you want to do is dry your tail really well on the inside and on the out. I will also link that video in the description box. For the third step, this is kind of like a side step, like not everybody will have to do this, but if you are like me and you cleaned your tails a long time ago, thinking that the swimming season was going to last longer, but then you got sick and you missed the end of the swimming season and now you're very sad, your tail might have dust on it. And you probably don't want dust sitting there all year. So what I'm going to do is take some distilled water and a clean rag that doesn't look clean, but it is clean. And I'm going to wipe the entire surface of my tail. The inside is already clean and ready to go, and dry of course too. But the outside has some dust on it, and I'm just going to wipe it down and get all that dust off so it doesn't sit with dust all year. Then of course, let it dry. After your tail has been cleaned and dried thoroughly, the next step is to grab your monofin things, support things, little plastic inserts. Not all monofins come with this, but some of them do. And you can slip these inserts into the monofin that they belong to help keep the monofin inside of your silicone mermaid tail from collapsing. I neglected to do this for a couple of years, and now Sparta, my first silicone mermaid tail, has partially collapsed and cracked monofins, which actually makes swimming a little bit more uncomfortable. And at some point the monofin will completely break and I'll have to have it replaced, which will be expensive and bothersome. So make sure you take precautionary steps and protect your monofins when you are able to. If you don't have any monofin supports, you could probably just take like socks and shove them in your monofins. That's probably what I'll do for Rebellion, because his Finnis shooter monofin did not come with supports. So I'll probably just shove some socks in there. After you've put the supports into your mermaid tails, it is time to put the pool noodles into your mermaid tails. You only really need one, but just shove it down as far as it'll go into your silicone mermaid tail. And this will allow air to continuously flow through the tail, so you just don't have stagnant air trapped in your tail. Because air does contain moisture, and if it's just stuck there, you never know, it could cause mold. Or at least like a nasty smell. Just something to maybe do. Once you have everything inside of your tail and your tail is clean and dry and ready to go for storage, there is another step. Actually quite a few steps. So stay tuned and keep watching, and make sure to drop your tips down below if you have any, and of course hit like and subscribe, all that good stuff. But the next thing to do is pick a spot to store your silicone mermaid tail. Ideally, this should be a place where your silicone mermaid tail can be laid out flat and will not have to be folded over on top of itself. Also, this should be a place where it won't have to be moved from frequently. You want it to be able to stay there for a couple of weeks or months at a time. And to make sure it is not a place that is super moist or super dirty or liable for it to be exposed to like dogs climbing on it and cats climbing on it and mice and whatever. Just try to keep it in a safe, clean, remote area that is out of the way. Once you have selected your safe spot, clean it off really well however you would clean that area, and get it ready for your silicone mermaid tail to be laid out on. For me, I use a couch down in the basement. The basement is not the best spot for a silicone mermaid tail. Honestly, it smells like mildew half of the time. It's pretty damp, pretty dusty, pretty dirty, but it's what I've got and I work with it. So if you are storing your tail in a basement too, or an area that is kind of damp and musty, I suggest getting some bags of damp rid and also getting a dehumidifier to help pull the moisture out of this space and keep it dry and mold and mildew free as best as possible. Once your tail is laid down in your clean and dried space, you can put a blanket over it. Make sure that you leave the opening of your tail open and you don't cover it. That way air can still flow freely in and out, but do try to cover the surface of your tail. So the pool noodle that is sticking out of your tail should be visible. It should not be covered up. It's like you have to imagine that your silicone mermaid tail breathes out of its opening hole and you can't suffocate it. So make sure it can breathe. And just cover it with a blanket on all other areas. The reason I cover my tails with blankets is 1, to keep the dust off of the blanket so that next year they aren't super dusty and gross, and 2, because sunlight can actually fade paint sometimes. At least I've heard it fades paint on silicone tails. I haven't noticed it on mine because I do take these precautions, so that's probably why I haven't noticed it. But sun can do a lot of damage to a lot of things, and I don't really want to risk ruining my tails because of the stupid sun, because it already gives me enough problems. So cover up your silicone mermaid tails with blankets. And the video does not end here, folks. I mean, it could for you if you want it to, but one thing I will do after I have stored my tail and I just leave it alone for a while is about once every month I will pull my tails out of storage and dry them out using my fan. This is for 2 reasons, which by the way, I'll link that fan in the description box if you want to buy one. This is for 2 reasons though. 1, because I want to keep dry air funneling into the tails and get any air that might be a little stagnant out of there. And 2, because the reality of having a tail in the basement is that snakes, crickets, and mice and spiders also love the basement. Sure, the snakes sometimes take care of the spiders and bugs, but you still have snakes. So we actually only had 2 snakes in our basement. Snakes don't bother me at all, but I do hate mice, and I would hate for a mouse to chew out my tail and try to make a nest out of it, because I really truly hate mice a lot. I literally dream about killing them, which is really dark, but that's like not a joke. I dream so much about hunting for mice. I swear I'm part cat. Anyways, that was my video on how to store your tails for the winter. I hope you found that helpful. Please, again, leave your tips down below if you have experience with this, and just let people know how you store your silicone tails, I guess. Sorry that the mermaid season is over. Remember, we will have it next year. In the meantime, feel free to watch any of my videos that show me swimming if you miss the water and need some water in your life right now. See you later. Bye.